Hey guys, it's Callous with more Callous Crew Challenge, and it is Fear against Pohjis here. As far as the YouTube score of this series, it's going to be 1-0 at the time for PPT. That is Pohjis, Punny, and Tricking. See, PPT, see what they did there? On the other side, Helix is Fear's team. He's teaming with Heroic Troller, who lost to Punny, and he's teaming with Jirachi, who is yet to face Tricking in DPP. That match is never going to come to be unless Fear achieves victory here, because Pohjis, with a win, can send his team through to the next round. That being said, Fear, known as a mainer in GSC, one of the best GSCs in the world, often among the most expensive GSC players in SPL. Pohjis, on the other hand, kind of more of a generalist, has certainly played this tier and had success in it, definitely can play GSC, but isn't exclusively known as a GSC stud the way that Fear is. Go ahead and get into it. And we're going to put it on fast. Hyper fast might be too fast, but GSC can sometimes take a while, so I think normal might be too slow. Fear got the zap lead and a Snorlax lead for Pohjis. Very common in both cases. Rock Slide here on Lax, decent damage, going to stay in. Fish Para Flinch, gets a crit and a para. Very good for Fear. And that's going to prompt Pohjis out of the way. Opts for the Rock Resistant Steelix, completely negates the Rock Slide. Flamethrower there and a burn. Very good start for Fear. Not so hot for Pohjis. Gonna go for Surf too, so he doesn't even get spikes down. Not that it matters because the spinner immediately comes in. And Fear gonna go for Surf to not let Cloyster do anything for free. Even the boom wouldn't have killed there because of the attack reduction with the burn. Things going a whole lot of bad for Pohjis in the early stages of this game, with Fear catching some relevant breaks such as the crit para and such as the burn. Pretty hard to beat a really good player when they're also getting lucky. It's early on, the luck can turn around, but make no mistake, Fear is definitely ahead right now, Pohjis in a bit of a hole. That being said, I mean, let's Sleep Talk Thunder, for example. What if hypothetically it had crit and killed the Lax? Shit happens. But it didn't. So Pohjis not doing so good. Alright. There's a crit. You get rid of that Snorlax. Jolteon coming in for Pohjis. Didn't expect that in the back, but man, come on, man. T-Bolt Para, 10% on a poke that relies on its speed. How could this happen? Nah, Fear is really in good shape for this one. Cloyster about to burn itself to death. Dies to Surf just as well. There's the Lax. Might as well Surf that too and see if we can get a Para or a crit. He doesn't, but he can just Rapid Spin later, which that's the play. Reveals itself to be an S-Toss Lax. Surf coming down at this point. It's real bad for Pohjis. I mean, it's not over, but like he's not only down, but he also doesn't have spikes, and the Jolteon's paralyzed from the unlucky T-Wave 10% after effect. So it's real bad. Recover double edge. Alright, Pohjis giving himself some chances here, fishing for crits. T-Tar might sneak in at some point for Fear, but in the meantime, Pohjis trying to get there, see if he can find himself some hacks. Nope. He's had opportunities, and Fear is too afraid to switch T-Tar in. He fears that play. I'll keep my day job. Miltank comes in at this point as rest occurs. Now Starmie in. There is a Surf. And he finds rest in his sleep. Most of you watching this with an interest in GSC probably already know this information, but let's just go ahead and go over it. Rest talk works differently in Gen 2. If you find rest in your sleep, assuming you have any damage on you and rest doesn't fail, it works as if you actually used rest. You actually go to sleep and it resets the counter. So let's say you have killed a sleep turn and taken, whatever, a Surf, you're down to 80%, and then you sleep talk rest, you actually use rest, and you have to sleep 2 more turns, but you go back to full health. Funky mechanic, and certainly something that they addressed in future gens, because it's probably not a good mechanic, but rest talk is pretty busted and pretty universal in this gen. Oh, hey, in real time, Tony and M-Dragon are playing right now. I will watch that on my mobile phone while I try to narrate this, and probably get distracted in doing so and stop narrating. You guys don't mind, right? I'm going to hold off just for you. I'm going to resist the temptation to watch the RBY elimination match because that is the kind of guy I am. Dedicated to the craft. This one could take longer than I wanted to, though. Miltank, kind of a fringe mon. It's not junk, but it's definitely not good. It's like one of the weird, like, it's technically OU, but like it might as well be a BL. Doesn't see a lot of play. Only ever has the one set. And in this case, it is certainly not an offensive mon by any means. It learns growl, and that is not fear misclicking. Oh fuck! By growl I meant I can't think of another good move that begins with G. Growth, which it doesn't learn. It actually is supposed to be growl. It's just a way to check Snorlax, which is a little funky. But yeah, growl Miltank is in fact the standard in Gen 2. How about that? Oh, there's a crit. There's a crit. That cow in trouble. And by trouble, I mean Pohjis has like a 2-3 turn window to find another crit. But it can happen. There's a milk drink. Alright, we're out of crit range. Well, that was uneventful. Quagsire came in for Fear. Didn't get a chance to do its thing. But the big draw, the big appeal of Quagsire in Gen 2 is that it learns Belly Drum. So it can be a threat in that regard. It can drum that belly and get all big and strong and apply the beatdown. Fear so far has not been able to set that up. Pohjis doing a good job neutralizing that. Pohjis also doing a good job giving himself opportunities to crawl back into this. Like I said, he was pretty unlucky early on. Fear with multiple pieces of relevant hacks early on in this game. Pohjis has done a very good job giving himself chances. He's had multiple opportunities, multiple sequences in a row where Fear is just forced to sit there and use whatever recovery move, and Pohjis gives himself chance after chance after chance to find a crit. They didn't come, unfortunately for him, but he's playing correctly. He's digging himself out of the hole that he put himself in. He's making the best out of crappy circumstances. There we go. There we go. Deserved. He gets a crit. Ooh, that hurts. D-Bond, we going for some nonsense. Fear doesn't fall for it either way, even if he does have that. And Lax is going to rest. But yeah, Pohjis has given himself many, many chances. Here's D-Bond, Pursuit respectively. Sure, good trade given how low the Gengar was. Leaves it in a 3-3. Fear respects the boom possibility, but Pohjis with the discipline to not pull the trigger there. This one, all things considered, has turned out pretty close, especially with how poor the early luck was for Pohjis. The Jolteon's still doing a whole lot of nothing, given that stupid 10% para on the one-turn window. But yeah, I mean, even then, like, if you get down to, like, I don't know, Jolteon against Starmie, for example, you got some play. 79% it'll survive a non-crit surf. It can T-bolt it back and do some damage. Maybe it crits, maybe it paras. I mean, the Jolteon's not exciting, don't get me wrong, but it has more than absolutely zero purpose. It's not purely fodder at this point. But yeah, I really respect. I mean, Fear just played a solid, disciplined, not taking a lot of risks game, as you would expect from a player of his caliber. But I'm really impressed rather by Pohjis actually. Like I said, totally composed during all the nonsense early on. Not a rager, respectful player. Didn't say a word with any of the hacks. Just silent, focused. Keep in the game. Keep your head in it. And has really, like I said, crawled back and given himself a lot of opportunities to find hacks or just get there. Unfortunately, he doesn't have like ice moves or whatever. He can't fish for freezes, which is one of the best ways to BS your way back into games. But he's given himself chances with what he's got. Which honestly, he doesn't even have a lot of tools at his disposal. He doesn't even have like a lot of moves that, like I said, could freeze, could burn, could paralyze. He has like a paralyzed Jolteon that can fish for para. That's like it. And even then, there's a ground type on the other side, and Miltank is gonna have last move Heal Bell. So like, unless the Miltank itself is the thing that you're freezing, and as we've established, he can't even freeze, then status really isn't even that good in this case. So Pohjis really not with a lot of hacks tools at his disposal. It basically is crits or bust. That's what he can do. And he's given himself chances, and that's all you can do in this situation. All that being said, all the praise and respect for Pohjis, and I really do. I really like the guy and the player. I'm really a Pohjis fan. Fear, who I also really like, longtime friend of mine in the Pokemon world. Someone I would really love to meet in real life one day, though we do live half the world apart. He's in Greece and I'm here. Fear, who I am a big fan of as well, seems very likely to win this game. The window is just so narrow for Pohjis that full power doesn't help. I'm not sure. I mean, PP eventually becomes a factor, right? And even now, I mean, there's Pohjis. He would have been fine if not for that crit. He's nursing his Lax back to health with lefties. Pohjis is really good. He really understands the tier. He's just playing really well and just giving himself every opportunity. There just isn't a lot that he can do this game. It doesn't seem like a great matchup. Starmie into Cloyster. He's got pretty good counters to a relatively passive team. Happens to be Quagsire against Jolteon, which is also unlucky for Pohjis. So I think the matchup is not great for Pohjis to begin with. And then Fear just got himself ahead and kind of stayed ahead for most of the game with the early nonsense. So you can't really knock Pohjis here. But it's a tough game to win. And I don't think he's going to win, but I really applaud the way that he's played and given himself chances. I'm actually just going to go ahead and switch to Hyper Fast at this point. It's very hard at this point to imagine Pohjis actually winning this game. I really applaud his effort and his restraint in complaining about any of the hacks. Like that critical hit. Oh yeah. Yep, Pohjis just says GG. Classy guy. I expect nothing less from him. But nevertheless, it is Fear with the victory here. And that is going to send us to Game 2, of course. Just a reminder about the stakes, since that was a longer game, turn 135. Fear is teaming with Troller and Jirachi, whereas Pohjis is teaming with Tricking and Punny. Tricking and Jirachi are set to play in DPP, but haven't done so yet. On the other hand, Heroic Troller and Punny, they did play, and Punny won. So if Fear were to win, it would tie the series up at 1-1, and it would come down to Jirachi and Tricking in DPP. If Pohjis were to come back and win the series, his team, PPT, would eliminate Fear's team, Helix, and they would move on to the next round. Alrighty, now that we know what's at stake, let's do it to it. I'm going to put it on fast as we have a cheesy Smeargle lead. Getting a spider web off in exchange for a double edge. And, oh boy, I know where this is going. Oh no! Oh no! I'm putting it on hyper fast. Fear is going to set up on Pohjis here. I think this game is going to be a fantastic example as to why Baton Pass is unbalanced fucking garbage. And I mean, if you don't ban Baton Pass completely, which is a different argument, you certainly should ban Spiderweb plus Baton Pass, because this kind of cheesy nonsense should not happen here. So, the Lax cannot switch. It's been Spiderwebbed. And the Umbreon is now setting up full Charm, full Sand Attack on the fucking thing. He's either going to completely PP stall it out and cheese kill the Lax that way, or even worse, depending on what he has in the back, he could Baton Pass himself. Well, there's an Encore. He could Baton Pass himself to a setup Mon. Yep, here's Jolteon. Are we going to start growthing? Oh, yeah. Alright, so this Lax cannot switch, is paralyzed, has bare minimum accuracy, and bare minimum attack. Jolteon is as growthed up as he can go. And he's opting not to kill it because he doesn't want to let him have rest. Man, what a world we live in. Jolteon there could have just killed the fucking thing, couple Thunderbolts, and then maybe just swept the team. But Fear is going uber safe, He's going to set up the Jolteon again later. He would rather have this lax PP kill itself and then let the Jolteon do its thing. What is worthwhile? That's easy. This is going to be miserable for Fear. Or for Pohjis, rather. Man, this whole time, let me switch this over to normal now, or to fast. This whole time, he has a fucking light screen Blissey in the back, which is like exactly what you would want to have against this kind of team. Man, even with all those growths, he just completely shuts down this offense after fucking 60 turns of BP trap nonsense from Fear. Pohjis, such a nice guy, just sits there silently, patiently. I'm sure he's thinking, this is bullshit, fuck this, baton pass is trash, but he's just sitting there letting it happen, waiting patiently, nothing he can do, miserable to play against, just click moves until your shit dies while you sit there helplessly, only to wait patiently and eventually get his Blissey in, set up light screen, and I mean, honestly, Pohjis is like really in this game now, which seems inconceivable based on how that went, because like Fear had the setup, he had a fucking 5-speed Jolteon that should just sweep the world, but there's a damn Blissey in the back with light screen. Yeah, it just got interesting. Shit just got real. I don't know that it's a given that Fear actually wins this game. The thing is that like a lot of the stuff that he has, a lot of his sets are just like so all in. Smeargle's not going to have much purpose anymore. Umbreon's not going to have much purpose anymore, and it's paralyzed. Pohjis actually could win this. I mean, don't get me wrong. Fear has a Lax, which is by far the best poke in the gen, and Pohjis doesn't, so like that obviously matters. And this particular set of Blissey, where you would think the last move has to be Heal Bell, right? That's like one of the only reasons to use Blissey, meaning it doesn't have another attack other than Flamethrower, it doesn't have S-Toss or whatever. This particular set happens to be pretty bad in the matchup, since like you can't even pop subs with Flamethrower, and PP certainly becomes an issue. I switched it from hyper fast over to fast, but I may have to switch this back to hyper fast. Let me do that, because this is looking like it may take a minute. It's interesting. Pohjis really is in this game, which in and of itself feels like it shouldn't be a thing after the way this all started, but for as cheesy and oppressive and dominating as that stupid baton pass trap setup is, just by dumb coincidence, Pohjis happens to have the best. I mean, I was going to say the perfect answer, but there is no perfect answer because it's so imbalanced, but like the best realistic answer that he's going to have, which is the light screen Blissey. Not sure what there is to narrate here. I mean, Pohjis is just kind of hanging on for dear life. I mean, PP, like I said, is going to become an issue. Last move is going to be Heal Bell. He doesn't have S-Toss, so as far as attacking PP, it's just these Flamethrowers that he only has 6 of now. It's even less as we go. And they're pretty unexciting. They don't even pop subs on Starmie. Man, has Fear switched over to just full PP stall the whole damn team? Double edge rest talk. Yeah, he can't curse and force the action that way. It could be last move curse, I suppose. We haven't actually seen. And then we don't know the last either. Pohjis probably knows the last. I'm not as versed in GSC baton pass shenanigans to know what the last is. For you guys, it's probably it's probably something fairly obvious, but I'm not sure what the last is. We seem to have devolved here into a PP stall plan, which is not too exciting, but this has been a weird game as a whole. Fear busting out this like gimmicky, cheesy, all-in baton pass team was probably expecting to either win or lose pretty quickly. The all-in setup either gets there or it doesn't. I mean, that's the nature of all-in, right? You either just get there and just win, or you just go bust. Very rarely does all-in, obviously metaphorical all-in, not poker all-in, where it literally is you either win or you're out of there. But, yeah, Pokemon all-in, if you will, very rarely isn't actually all-in. But this is one of those times where it's all-in in theory, but like as it turns out, there actually is a stage 2 of this game. There actually is a phase beyond I'm using this one thing and it either gets there or not. The vast, vast, vast majority of the time with this team that Fear used, it would have been that. It would have been I either set up and get there or I lose, and that's it. And one of those two things happens quickly. But this is one of those rare instances where there actually is something beyond that, and yeah, and it's still unclear to me who's going to win this game. I think, don't quote me here, I think Fear is going to win this game. Pohjis doesn't see, I mean, he's just flat out behind two pokes, and Blissy's never going to kill anything. Cloister Golem don't really kill anything unless you boom on them, which doesn't help when you're already down two pokes. And then Skarm seems to have the wrong set. If Skarm were Curse Drill Peck, maybe that gets there. Okay. Well, I'm glad I didn't try to guess the last poke for Fear, because I sure as hell wouldn't have guessed Moltres. What a world. GSC Baton Pass. What a world. And Pohjis, again, just clinging on for dear life here. Oh, Golem can't even touch the Moltres. And there's the concession, 204 turns later. What a fucking game that was. Yeah, so Golem, Rock Slide, and Rapid Spin are illegal together. They're not compatible. That's why you're wondering, what the fuck, why doesn't Golem have a Rock move? That is because he's used as a Rapid Spinner. And if he has Rapid Spin, he can't have Rock Slide. And then that takes you to the second question. Okay, can't have Rock Slide. That's fine. How about HP Rock? That is because the Hidden Power mechanics. Hidden Power works differently in this gen. And some of the IVs are terrible on the Hidden Powers. So in order to use certain Hidden Powers, I don't know what Rock is specifically, you have to take a significant stat decrease that really matters in a real-time situation. So that's why he has neither Rock Slide or HP Rock, which is really awkward when a Golem can't 4x hit with one of his stab moves against a Moltres. Not that this is a situation that ever comes up, because Moltres and Charizard are both not Mons. But here we are. Weird, weird game, weird, weird series, two long ones. 135 and 204 turns, respectively. Pohjis, silent, classy, played really well. But it is Fear, the GSC stud, the GSC mainer, who takes the W. That is going to force us to a decisive series of DPP between Jirachi and Tricking for Fear's team, Helix, or for Pohjis' team, PPT, to go through to the next round. Hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please do leave a thumbs up. Certainly happy to hear your comments if you guys have any. It was a weird series. What else? Donate, subscribe, come to the YouTube channel or the Discord server, all that good stuff. See you in the next video.